I'm going to crack this thing open.
You know how like advent calendars for kids, those chocolates?
Yeah, we got one.
I'm like that with pumpkin pie.
No, it's my first Marvel movie. Everyone's like, oh my god, you got to see a Marvel movie in theaters. So I'm like, okay, I'll go see Spider-Man.
Maybe they should have been in there because I have some opinions on why Georgia is in the playoffs. They should not be in the playoffs.
Oh my god.
Why should
Not
they?
you.
They just lost.
Welcome to the Beer and Sports Podcast, part of the Fins Talk Sports Network. I am Josh Wingate 302, and this is my good buddy, Josh Kimmel OUS. Follow us. Yeah, good buddy. There you go. Follow us at Mugs and Balls on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and the network as well at Fins Sports Network. Fins Talk Sports Network on all those platforms as well. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Feeling hot. You know, you're wearing your Dallas shirt. I just want to say right off the bat, Tua. That brings the viewers in. Tua.
That's
all I got to say. Tua. Just say it over and over.
Is this like a chant or go, Tua?
Yeah. Just say it over and over, and the trolls will come. The mouth breathers will come. Sorry, Dave.
There you
go. But Jesus Christ. All right. What are we talking about today?
My question for you today is, when are you finally going to drink? Like,
I'm not drinking. I know, like, I'm the lamest co-host of all time, but listen.
So a little background story. I was doing this podcast with my cousin Adam in the beginning, and we joined a network that Josh was a part of, Say It Again Network. And in that process, I got on the first day we joined, we got into I believe it was on Slack. We got into our Slack channel, and I got on there, and I said, hey, guys, I'm from the Beer and Sports Podcast. And Kimmel comes on hot. He's like, oh, my goodness, I love beer. I talk about beer all the time. Beer. And since he has joined the podcast, he has slowly gotten away from beer. I was like, okay, I'm going to bring in this guy, and he's great. And he's going to know more about beer than I do. There was a point in the network. I joined the network, and he gifted me some beer. And I was like, oh, my goodness, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Listen.
And then
I had to explain myself. I'm going to stop you right there. There's two things. There's three things why beer is dead in my life. Three things. I was going to say it real quick. Craft beer is dead. It doesn't resell in the market anymore. There's no more value in beer. I can't make any money off of it anymore. Therefore, it's out of my life. Two, I am thin. I am going to start drinking beer once I'm in maintain mode, but I'm still in getting thin mode.
Okay.
Three. Oh, I know my third?
Yeah.
I'll be drinking with you. And I'm sending you beer this week, by the way, because we have a guest lined up, and he's all about beer too. So I'll be drinking in like 2 weeks, guys.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm going to tell this exact same story when he gets on here. But here is my... I just had this thought come to my mind. So this weekend, you were over there. You're like, do you know what? I'm looking good. Whoosh, took the shirt off, and you're like, I'm going to cook some bacon. You're over here.
That's not true. First off, I was wearing a shirt.
Okay. And then this bacon just goes whoosh, and splashes onto your chest.
Yep.
If you were drinking beer on Monday nights, that would have never have happened to you.
That makes zero sense.
It makes all the sense.
Second-degree burns all down my chest, all down my stomach. The first batch of bacon I flipped, the bacon splash wasn't getting it. What happened was I don't want to tell the whole story on another podcast. The point of this is I was wearing a shirt. Bacon grease went down my freaking chest. Second-degree burns. Therefore, yes, Josh, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where I was going.
How's it going, Anthony?
Hi, Anthony. And I finished breakfast. That was my point. 15 minutes later, I'm still cooking breakfast.
I think this is what I think. You're like, do you know what? Everyone's doing these like look at me now photos. You're like, let's cook some bacon, get some second-degree burns, so I have a reason to show off.
You want to pull it up? I have a picture.
I don't have a picture. You can pull it up, but I do not have a picture. But you're like, okay, everyone's doing these look at me now, gym poses and everything. And you're like, do you know what? I'm going to do it different. I'm going to get these second-degree burns, and everyone's going to be like, oh, ouch, that looks bad. But they're going to be like, oh,
Wow, he's
look,
jacked.
Josh is getting jacked and a little toned. And I think that's why you took that photo.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm just so jacked. I'm like, guys, look at my physique. Look at these gains. Look at this chest, baby. No, that's not what happened. But yeah, it was miserable. It was the worst. Honestly, this is my third second-degree burn. I've had a second-degree burn on my hand, flat on the grill. I've had a second-degree burn on this hand, flat on the grill, and I've had a second-degree burn right here. And
that's because Canadian bacon is from not the good part of the pig.
Evan, I eat Canadian bacon every single day. The bacon I was cooking was for my children, not even for me. I eat Canadian bacon every day.
Why Canadian bacon?
30% less fat, less sodium. It's way healthier for you. I eat about 3 slices and 4 eggs every morning.
Here's the thing.
Way better than ham, too.
Here's the thing. It's not necessarily less sodium. What makes it less sodium? What is brined in? Yeah. Find bacon that's brined differently. Yes, it's going to be a little bit less fat, but if you're looking for less fat, just get turkey bacon.
Turkey bacon's good. I love Canadian bacon. I love ham. Ham's my favorite breakfast meat ever.
Well, here's the thing. You're talking to me. Bacon. Old butcher. Used to be a butcher.
What's that nasty meatloaf shit you eat?
Oh, what is that? Scrapple. It's amazing.
I told you if I said Tua, people would come. I told you.
Yeah, exactly. Evan said switch to turkey bacon. If you're looking for less sodium, less fat, turkey bacon's the way to go. If you're going to do pork, you might as well just go all in. Do real bacon. Because it's not even ham that you're getting. Like, what are you talking about? I love ham. You're getting the pork loin for the Canadian bacon.
Ham is so good.
Just get the belly. The belly's where it's at.
You want to see my belly? You want to see my belly?
Okay, we get it. You've been working out, bud. But anyway, we're going to talk about... you asked what are we talking about today. We are going to talk about, and we're going to go over the Dolphins free agency, what they've done, what we think about that, and as well, we'll go into our favorite no sausage for Josh.
Oh, the sausage.
Which Josh? That's the question. Man. Which Josh is he talking about? I've made a lot of sausage, and the way to make that, you got to put the casing on the stuffer, and then,
Dude, there's nothing better in the summertime than a nice crisp sausage and is it a sausage? Summer sausage? And you put it in a bun? It's on a hot dog?
What's that? A summer sausage?
Yeah, like it's just a regular.
No, summer sausage is like the sausage that you slice down for like meat and cheeses.
Okay, am I wrong? What's the crisp? Like when you bite into it, it snaps?
I mean, it just depends. It could be a bratwurst. It could be a
brats are freaking. Yeah. Good. Moral of the story is stop eating bacon, guys. It kills you.
Not necessarily. It depends on your diet. If you have a high fat diet, you can lose weight doing that.
TB12 Wingate over here. Let's get our buddy over.
That's keto. Keto is a high fat diet.
All right, let's go to the Dolphins free agency. You got to take this over. I'm really upset about this Dalton Schultz news if it's true. I saw before I logged on.
What did you see that he signed with the Texans?
Yeah, what a fucking loser franchise. To go to a loser, like why would you do that? That's just frustrating to me because my biggest thing for the Dolphins this season was to get a running back and get a tight end. They didn't either so far.
Yeah, I mean they didn't get a new running back at least. They got a running back. They had a running back that they did not have on their roster come free agency. But yeah, they have not. So let's talk about this. So we talked to Ben Albright last week and we asked him a lot of Dolphins questions, but no moves were made other than maybe Jalen Ramsey trade.
I think that was before. That was before because we talked about Ramsey.
Okay. So we talked about the Jalen Ramsey move. What is your thoughts on that move overall?
Man, we talked about this already, Josh. Look, I don't
want to talk about it. You tell me. We're doing an overview. You tell me.
I'm reading the comments. Yeah, Dalton Gesicki got the same contract. Of course they did, but I saw that on the. I didn't think it was real. Who would want to go to Houston? That's all I want to ask you, Josh. You're a Dallas fan. That's a huge downgrade. I know we're talking about the Dolphins, but that's a huge downgrade.
I think he went for the person willing to pay him more money because he at one point I believe had a 3-year, $36 million contract on the table for him, and he turned it down by Dallas, and now he's getting, I believe, a 1-year, $9 million contract. I think he's trying to find the most money currently on the lowest deal because right now this draft class is unreal. Maybe he's going to walk into a better free agency for him. He's going to walk into a better draft class for him to where teams are going to be like, okay, I need a tight end. Let me overpay for this tight end.
Yeah, I get it. I do want to say I see young quarterbacks love tight ends. That's true. That's very true. We didn't see it. We saw it with Pickett and Firemouth last year. We see it with a lot of young quarterbacks. I get that, but can we agree that Dalton Schultz will be nothing right now if Blake Jarwin never tore his ACL? Blake Jarwin was supposed to be that guy there. Blake Jarwin was a better athlete. Blake Jarwin was the better tight end there in Dallas. You know that. Dalton Schultz is just a safety net.
Fluke. I don't agree with that.
Not fluke. My bad on fluke. He's not a fluke.
No. I just don't agree with he was the better tight end. I think he was a better receiving tight end, but I think Dalton Schultz became the better overall tight end. He was better at blocking than.
But he never got a shot. He would have never got a shot if Jarwin never tore his ACL that year. Never.
He was very young in that process. I think he was a third, fourth round pick. So he's only in his fourth year. Last year was his real full year of him playing, and then the year before that, So he's still a young tight end. Tight ends don't develop that quickly in the league. So I think he just made his time and he developed into what he was going to develop into.
Well, and you look at someone. I know I'm driving the show elsewhere, but you look at someone like Isaiah Likely, who is still behind Mark Andrews, who's a phenomenal talent. I love him, and he's just stuck there until Andrews either gets hurt or moves on, or until Likely moves on. We saw this with Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews as well. It's just that tight end position. You see it. There's they only have room for one guy. I feel like in the NFL these days because everyone's running these three receivers. This I don't know I'm not a professional like you guys with these little 11. What are they called, Josh?
11, 12.
Yeah, all these fancy terms, all these numbers. No. 3 tight ends, all that bullshit. Look, a lot of teams don't use these double tight ends these days, which they should, because I think that's a great way. The Dolphins do. They use all the bums. All the bums. Sherfield, he's not a tight end, but all the bums. I see Sherfield's in the chat. You want to talk about him real quick, what he said?
I don't. Okay. G-Man, it defends need Sherfield? Or are you looking at, I don't like Sherfield going to Buffalo. They were talking to Brandon Shell also.
Yes. A lot of in-division moves this year.
Yeah, there are. And that's why when I asked Ben Albright, could you see a specific running back going to Denver? You never know. It could happen. But that talk's quiet down a little bit. But anyway, let's get back to what we are talking about because you like to just go random. There is a pickup that I've talked about a lot, but the Dolphins agreed to a backup quarterback. That's something that we pinpointed as one of the biggest moves that Miami has to make this offseason because you don't know how Tua's going to, how much he's going to play. So you need that valuable quarterback behind him. And they went and got Mike White. What is your thoughts on this? Because I don't think I've actually got your thoughts on Mike White as their backup.
I need to know how much he's getting paid. Can you look that up?
I believe it was. Now I was corrected on this because I thought it was $15 million. I think he's getting around $7 million a year.
$7 million a year. That's okay. That's backup money. Baker got what, 8.5 backup money. We saw Heineke get paid way too much to be a backup. Same thing for Minshew. I believe he got paid more. I'm okay.
Now, what do you think is way too much for a backup? Heineke got paid basically $7 million a year too.
Oh, is it? I thought it was 1 year deal.
Heineke signed a 2-year, $14 million contract.
Okay, when I read that, I thought it was 1 year. My bad. That's good money. That's good backup money. I thought it was 1 year, 14. I'm like, holy, what? I need to get 14.
But that's still good backup money. I think
that's good backup money. So my thing
you're looking at starters getting $50 million a year, 45 to $50 million. I think anywhere in the 14 to 20 million range is ideally where backups are going to get paid.
That's fine, but I thought it was a 1 year deal for 14. To me, that's too much for a backup. But
Mike White got $4 million per year with bonus plus incentive.
Okay, that's fine. The thing is, if it was about to be 7 or 8 million, why didn't we just get Taylor Heineke, who's a better quarterback? I feel more comfortable with. It looked like Heineke wanted that second year. It looked like he wanted a longer contract, more security. I mean, it makes sense. Mike White's on a 1 year deal. Honestly, I don't want to talk about him because I want Tua to play 17 games, and I'm preaching positivity in the Tua realm. I know I'm a huge Tua fan. I'm a big Tua stan. We're not going to see Mike White this year. We're going to see Tua.
There you go.
That's my thing. But it's a nice security that at least we don't have Teddy Bridgewater out there never finishing a game ever. Like Teddy just comes in and never finishes. He's the ultimate me in the bed.
Mike White got 2 years, $8 million.
Oh, you didn't get $2 million?
Yep.
Or 2 years?
2 years. Heineke got 2 years, 14. And then I'm trying to find. I mean, Baker Mayfield got 1 year, $4 million. Would you have rather have said? And I know Mayfield probably wouldn't have want to come here because Tua, and he didn't have that opportunity to be like, okay, I'm the starter, and probably Miami didn't want that either. But would you have rather have had maybe a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield, maybe a Drew Lock as your backup?
See, Drew Lock, I would feel confident because I think he knows his role. I think he knows his role, and I think he's a good person to have. Look at what he did with Geno. Not saying he did that with Geno, but there was never any backlash. Like they traded for Drew Lock, and he expected to start, and all of a sudden Geno came in there, and he was fine in the locker room. I just want a good locker room guy, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah,
a good locker room guy. We spoke about that yesterday on my podcast about Jamal Williams. Great locker room guy. That's all I want for this Miami Dolphins football team because you need that encouragement with Tua. I want my hair to grow back.
I just don't think they here's my issue with Mike White. And Mike White used to be a Dallas Cowboy. Cowboys drafted him. He is so hot and cold.
Yeah.
You get a really good the first game he plays. He looks like, oh my goodness, he could be the starter. Look out, Mike White is here. He was in New York, and you just saw as soon as he took over, Mike White, the next starter of the New York Jets. And then he came back, and it was Mike White. But it's not the Mike White you saw the week before. So that's my issue. And then there's guys like Gardner Minshew, your guy. You love Gardner Minshew.
Love Gardner.
You got the Jacksonville jersey, Minshew. He got 1 year, $3.5 million. Why not guys like that? Guys with starter experience. Yeah, Mike White has some starter experience, but not the starter experience that a Minshew has, a Kyle Allen has, a Drew Lock has.
Do you
Sam
think
Darnold.
Minshew's hot and cold just like everyone else? I mean, Minshew's a little bit more upside than Mike White, in my opinion. But the thing is, when you bring Minshew in here, you bring that personality, you bring that aura. Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. He can overcome that. We've seen Tua crumble with Fitzpatrick. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tua crumble.
That's true. That is very true.
They don't need anything in there to distract Tua from getting the job done and staying healthy and staying focused. When Tua was focused, and I know G-Man, the Dolphin, in there is talking crap. That's totally fine. I get it. I encourage it. But when he plays, he's phenomenal. Tua is a NFL quarterback when he plays. I'm tired of this. He won't play 17 games crap. Let's see it. Keenan Allen couldn't play 17 games or 16 games until Keenan Allen could. Remember that? Keenan Allen's first 3 years were very questionable. Very. But now he's been untouched since.
Yeah.
And all he has to do is learn how to fall. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and that's what we heard from Ben Albright last week. We both talked about how we never noticed that. And that might not have been the issue. And that's something that they've put on their off-season plan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But Tua did crumble. When he got benched mid-game for Fitzpatrick, I'm like, oh, that boy's career is over.
Yeah.
Over.
They did not handle Tua very well his rookie year. It was a bad situation where they were putting him. His confidence level had to be at an all-time low.
Yeah, imagine.
That probably put a step back on his development. And my question is, where would he be today if they? Because I think Tua's a very he's not very confident person, and that scares me playing the quarterback position. Because normal quarterbacks wouldn't be you wouldn't be happy if they were treating you like that, taking you in, taking you out. You would probably ultimately speak up.
Let me ask the chat this, and I'm going to ask you this: rookie year, Joe Burrow, he gets benched by a veteran, journeyman quarterback. Do you think Joe Burrow is going to sit there and take it? No, he won't. That's the difference. That's the difference, and I love Tua.
And this might be the reason why. This is the reason why I might say Baker Mayfield. Maybe Tua can learn a little bit from Baker with his bravado and his I'm better than you, I'm going to win no matter what. Maybe some of that rubbing elbows with Tua would rub off on Tua a little bit, because I feel like that's what, and hear me out, I feel like if you could mix together Tua and Baker Mayfield, you would have one hell of a player.
I don't want to, no comment on Baker. It's a joke at this point. I've been saying
his mentality is what you want in a quarterback. 100%.
Not a fan of Baker. Josh is frozen. Looks like I'm by myself.
No, you're not by yourself. I heard that you're not a fan of Baker Mayfield.
Not.
So
I'm not.
But-
he made my city go from a top 10 city in America to a bottom 50, just like that. Just him being in my presence.
I feel like, I bashed Tua for not having the strongest arm. I don't think he can make every throw. But there's quarterbacks that have made it in this league without that. I also feel like injuries are an issue for Tua. That's why the biggest position for the Dolphins, in my opinion, was the backup quarterback. But I also think Tua's personality is not one to be a leader of men. I don't think he has that leader of men mentality. And I feel like Baker Mayfield does. So maybe rubbing elbows with Baker or rubbing elbows with a quarterback like a Gardner Minshew or like that might help him a little bit.
I think that you're confusing arrogance and cockiness with confidence, right? Like Baker's more of a if we lost, it's everyone else's fault but mine. But when we win, it's my fault. We won. That's Baker. That's how I see Baker. I don't see Baker as a team player. I don't see Baker as somebody who can lead.
See, I strongly disagree with that. I think Tua
there's no way.
I think Baker Mayfield is, and it might come off as fake with Baker. And I said some of Baker, but it might come off as fake with him. But he's the first person to support his guys around him. He will put his guys out there before him. But it might seem fake in the way he does it.
Very fake. Very manufactured. You can tell he's been coached up.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a great actor in progressive commercials. Great. Like, he's phenomenal. He really is. He's a funny guy. He can act well. So he takes that acting to the locker room, to the press conferences. I think he's a weasel and a snake. But we're not talking about Baker. We're talking about Tua's leadership. We were going to talk about free agency, but
you haven't really talked about Tua's leadership. What is your opinion on that aspect of the game?
I think the same way, man. I think that he is Bucky Brooks always said, like, you're either a trailer or you're, I don't know, whatever. You're the person hauling the trailer or you're the trailer getting hauled. He's the trailer getting hauled. He's never going to be the one leading the team. I don't see him in the huddle demanding. He's not going to pull Jameis and EWs or anything, but he's not going to do anything like that. I don't think he is. He might be a quiet leader, which is okay.
Yeah.
You could be quiet leaders, but these alpha players like a Brady, like a Burrow, like even, all these guys, that's who I want. I don't feel like Miami's had that since forever, since I've been born, I was born in 85. So I didn't start comprehending football till like 1991. Ooh. Yeah. When were you born?
89.
God, you're so young. According to Evan, that's way big of a difference. Our gap is I'm way more mentally smarter than you, and I can handle different situations because I'm like 4 years older than you.
That's probably not true. But
why not true? Why not? You're not the one with the secondary burn on your chest that looks like a
yeah, exactly. I know how to cook bacon.
You do.
So after that, Mike White signing, I don't agree with it, but we can move on. They also were able to sign a couple linebackers, another position of need for the Dolphins. They got David Long Jr. They signed him to a two-year deal, and then they were able to keep Duke Riley for 2 years. So they got some linebackers, some depth there for 2 years. And I also like some of the depth that they drafted last year and players already on the depth chart that I feel like people expect these guys to just take off and run. Like today's NFL, you get drafted, you need to run right away because we're not developing talent. Like, what is this? I feel like there is talent on this depth chart that could develop into something because there is talent around this. But what are your thoughts on these two signings?
These two signings, listen, I'm going to defer to you and what you said because I'm not going to lie to my audience. I'm an offensive mindset kind of person.
You are.
I am
fantasy.
Give me the points. I like my fantasy teams more than my real life teams. Sorry, guys. Yeah. That's just the facts. It just is. I was hyped about the Ramsey thing because he's a big name. I'm hyped about getting some linebackers because that's what we talked about all offseason so far. Is this linebacking group was a joke. So let's get some guys that can compete and can contribute. Yeah, I like some bigger names in there, but you don't have the money, you don't have the space for it. You got to work with what you can. This isn't going to be an overnight fix.
No.
The defense is not going to be an overnight fix. It's just not.
But I feel like they are kind of overnight fixing this defense. You look at it. Zach Seiler from Baltimore, they got him. He's an up and coming player. Roquan Davis, the nose tackle, and then they got Christian Wilkins, a really good run stopping defender. And we've had conversations within the network about should you re-sign Christian Wilkins? Should you not? What should you do? I'll give my opinion on it at another time. But the linebacker position, I feel like they've done a really good job. Jalen Phillips, I feel like he's someone you have to prioritize as a future. Let's lock him up. He's the future of this defense. And then they also went and recently they got Malik Reed, linebacker from Pittsburgh, hard-nosed guy. Just a good talent for a backup and to have on this team. They also have, we mentioned David Long, Jerome Baker at interior linebacker, and then they have Bradley Chubb. But the guy that I like on this defense, I might be a Georgia fan saying this, but I wasn't big on him coming out, but I think he's going to develop into something. Channing Tindall, I think he's a straight line speed guy who really just needed to learn how to wrap up and tackle. He needs to see better with his eyes as well. But I think this defense is going to help him just react a little easier and become the talent that they expected. I really like him in this defense.
Yeah, I just need some defense to wrap up because I saw in the chat, which I didn't see today. I've been off of social media a lot today. The Damian Harris sign with Buffalo, that dude's a bruiser. That dude's a good running back, and they're going to need to tackle that guy.
Yeah, what is this like?
What?
Oh, I'll just go to my competitor.
Yeah, that's what I look at. I look at the other teams and who are they signing? Who are they looking? I'm like, God, Damian Harris is a freaking bruiser. Always PFF's #1 freaking running back every single year. This guy is good, and you need these linebackers to wrap up. You need Wilkins. You need that front to stop them because not only him. You're looking at James Cook. You're looking at Josh Allen. He can run out of the backfield. And then you go to the other teams. The Jets have Breece Hall, phenomenal talent. We all love Breece Hall, right? You love Breece Hall, right?
Oh, I love Breece Hall.
Okay, that's another running back.
That was my top running back in last year's draft.
Well, I don't know. You don't like DeAndre Swift, so I don't. I mean, you just like some. You like some good players. You like some ungood players. It's just weird.
Yeah, Breece Hall was my #1 running back last year.
That's another problem.
But I'm also a Georgia fan, so I got to see more of DeAndre Swift than people. His vision is awful behind the line of scrimmage. He can't. He runs into his defenders more than he runs into his offensive line more than anyone I can remember. Actually, no, more than DeMarco Murray because DeMarco Murray was great for that. Their vision isn't great. They have to have a wide open hole to hit, and not a big fan of him. Good receiver,
to continue on my point, the Patriots have Ramondre Stevenson still. That dude's a baller. It just feels like the AFC East is stacked at the running back position, and the Dolphins need to do something to get them tackles. Ooh, Kenny McIntosh. He went the double thumbs down. He only went one thumbs down.
But I'll do double thumbs down. I'm not a big fan of Kenny Mack either. If you watch Georgia's early games this year, they tried to really spotlight Kenny McIntosh in this offense, and we could not get a run game going at all. It wasn't until we brought in the rookie that you started seeing some pop in this run game. I feel like Kenny McIntosh is a really good, maybe a change of pace back, but I think he's being overvalued because of where he went. He went to Georgia, so everyone's like, oh my God, Georgia running backs are going to be great. I don't necessarily think that with Kenny Mack.
Not a fan of Kenny Mack. Sorry, dude.
But speaking of that, there's been rumors in free agency that Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, maybe Austin Eckler could be an opportunity to come to Miami. Do you think any of that happens?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Breaking news last night, Viking Dave saw on Twitter, who has a source, that Dalvin Cook's already been traded. They just haven't announced it yet.
Ooh.
And that's why he's been trying to get Alexander Madison in every freaking dynasty league of all time. No, I think Dalvin Cook is the only one that I would want, and that would make sense. Derrick Henry would cost too much. I think would cost too much, and he's 29 years old. The other guys, Eckler, again, costs too much. He's going to want that big contract. Don't want to pay him that big contract. He's 27, going on 28 pretty soon. Who was the other guy you mentioned? It was Cook, Henry,
Henry,
Eckler.
and Eckler.
So I named them all. Cook would be the one I would want in Miami. He's the more dynamic. He would fit the system. He's that one cut. He's got it all. He could do it all. Whereas I believe Henry's more of a that one mode he's always in is awesome, and no one's gonna tackle him, especially in the winter months in New England, in Buffalo, in New York.
How much are you gonna get out of him?
I don't know, but if he can win those games in December, January, when teams don't want to tackle him, it would be worth. If the Dolphins are 8-3, I wonder if they were 8-3 before going into these months, and they had a bruising running back that can just take the life out of a defense. Yeah. You got to do that. And Derrick Henry is your best option, but he costs too much to obtain.
Yeah. So it scares me with Derrick Henry because I've watched a running back for the last 7-8 years maybe. In Ezekiel
He's a different beast, dude. He's a different athlete.
Yeah, but he's bigger. He's taller. He's getting hit on his legs a lot more than Zeke was. Zeke was really good at getting low, getting contact on his shoulder. Derrick Henry takes a lot of hits on his legs. When are they just going to give out on him? When is he going to lose that explosiveness in his legs? I see a lot of running backs and they just give out one year. I'm worried with that with Derrick Henry. And why is Tennessee trying to move on from a running back this good?
Because Tennessee's trash.
I get that, but he's the face of your franchise. You're not probably going to get a lot for him. So why are you moving on? Let him be that face of your franchise. Retire. Are you just trying to move on from someone that you think is going to wash out here soon?
It's that thing where you're better off getting something now than getting nothing later. What's the point? I mean, you might as well try to get something now. Yeah, of course. He's lost a lot of power in those legs. Of course, it's going to happen. Every running back. No running back is immune to age. None of them. They all get old.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't have to. If you trade for him, you're going to play him all 17 games. But you don't have to. You don't have to don't start him up till week 6, right? Like if you can get on a hot start and you have Mostert, these bums, Jeff Wilson, they'll get hurt by week 6, all of them. And then you got Derrick Henry coming in. I know that's not going to happen. When you trade for an asset like that, you'll play him every game. But why not look at it a different way? Why hasn't any kind of analytics come in and said, hey, if we acquire a player like this, why don't we just play him in the final 10 games of the season instead of wearing him out in the summer months? What are we doing?
See, there's this guy that coached in Philadelphia maybe a decade ago. And he had this core of running backs that was almost unstoppable of Brian Westbrook, Deuce Staley, Correll Buckhalter. And it was just a group that he had the ground and pound guy. He had the guy out of the backfield. And then he had this all around running back. And it was just literally unstoppable with Brian Westbrook out of the backfield and the speed that he had, and then Deuce Staley just pounding you at the end. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, why don't you utilize Derrick Henry as he could be your lead back, but let's take some snaps away from him and get the speed out there and use this talent better and maybe extend the talent a little more as well.
Yeah, and that's all you have to do. I truly believe that when you give players rest and you don't run them to the ground and you utilize them to, if I'm playing Harry Potter and I only have 3 potions left, am I going to burn them?
No, you're going to utilize all 3 strategically, right?
Exactly, right? If I want some liquid luck, I want to use it when I need it most. I'm not going to go ahead and use it right away off the bat and just blow my load. It makes no sense. So that's just the situation.
And then if I'm playing Pokemon, if I got Charizard in my back pocket.
If I got Pokemon, I'm not going to use an Ultra Ball on a Weedle. I'm going to use a regular ball. Why would I use an Ultra Ball on a Weedle?
Yeah, right? Amen. But anyway, potentially Cook, you're saying Cook could be coming to Miami. You heard it here first. Josh Kimmel via Dirtbag Dave of the OUS podcast. Every Sunday at 8, is it 8 o'clock?
It's 8 o'clock, yeah.
8 o'clock on Fins Talk Sports Network. But
so, hold on. I want to go back to this Derrick Henry thing because this is huge, and a lot of people don't understand this. You go to playerprofiler.com, which is what I usually go to for advanced stats. You look at Derrick Henry last season. Yards created as a running back, he ranked 3rd. He created 187 yards by himself. This is tracked by advanced stats. 3rd. That means he didn't
How do they get these advanced stats? Like how they
I'm
track
not.
these.
I'm not a scientist. All right. I'm just telling you that I'm not a scientist. Go watch that. What's that ESPN show that they used to do back in the day?
Yeah.
Where they
I
do
forget
all
what
that
it was.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm telling you. His average defenders in the box was 6.9 per people in the box last year. That's fifth. His offensive line, god awful. Apparently, I don't know. I have no idea. His blocking rate was ranked 40th in the NFL. I don't know what that means. All I can tell you is he created a ton of yards and he had no offensive line.
Yeah.
You
so
tell me.
Evan said that they were ranked 32nd overall in the league last year for their offensive line.
Ungood.
So, I don't know if that was pure rushing or just the combination of the two, but Evan is saying 32nd overall.
I mean, he was fifth in evaded tackles, 88 overall. Like, evaded tackles don't mean juke. Like, he's not juking people. He's just running through people. His breakaway run rate was 9th in the NFL. This guy is not showing any evidence of slowing down.
I would real
Zeke
quick
was on that steady down climb.
Yeah. No, he
Derrick
was.
Henry's flatlining.
I would like to point out that just to give everyone a little sneak peek into what our Finch Talk Sports Network Twitter chat looks like, just join YouTube. You're going to see it right here, right now. This is what our chat looks like every day as I'm working. I'm over here sitting with my phone going ding, 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 ding. And this is the conversation exactly happening in that chat. But anyway, so the running back position, they were able to get Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson back. I know you're not a big fan of that, but they were able to lock them up for 2 years.
I did the math last night. They spent as much money on those two bums than they could have had a premier, better running back. Not premier, because the guys on the market weren't premier. But you could have had a better, younger, faster, more explosive running back.
Like the $1 million running back? Or
would you rather have Miles Sanders or Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson? Seriously.
Yeah, no, I would rather have Miles Sanders.
Okay. Would you rather have David Montgomery or these two bums in Miami?
But
I'm just
they
saying,
had, but this is the thing.
On these two players, and you could add one
cap allocation. Yeah, I would rather have that one, but you need to fill out a roster as well.
Yeah, I know it's under $9 million, Evan. It shows. It freaking shows, and it's going to show all season. It's going to be a big weak point.
They do have. They might not have the greatest draft capital, but they have the ability to go out and get a running back that they feel like could produce in this offense, and also have veteran running backs in this offense to help move that running back along as well.
I was unimpressed last year. I know they had good numbers, but it was just so.
I get that.
It was bad.
But if you're looking at it in that scenario where they're bringing in veteran running backs of this offense, and then they're looking to draft a running back to come in and then have this work as a group and have these running backs help this rookie along, you kind of like that a little better than you would, hey, we're going to spend $9 million on this guy, forget about the draft, and then still have to fill out a running back room as well.
No, I definitely get I understand what they're doing. I'm not stupid. But what I don't like is just the same old, like I said last night, it's like missionary sex with double condoms on. Sucks. I don't want to do it. And I don't want to go through a whole season.
You're speaking of that with, you're looking at that through a lens of, okay, we're not done with the offseason. You're looking at this as, okay, we're stuck with this. This is what we're going into the season with. I don't think that's how it's going to be. I think you're looking at a running back in the draft that's going to fit into this just as good.
J.M. Santos, get him out of the chat. If he's going to sit here and trash my Harry Potter, we're not doing that today. You better take your liquid luck if you want to stick around here, buddy. That's Felicia's. I don't know the spell anymore. What do you guys not like? What do you guys hate Harry Potter for? I'm just being serious. Like, why?
So this is why I hate Harry Potter, because it's not multiplayer.
Okay.
If it was multiplayer, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. I'd be nerding out just with you, and I'd be doing Illuminados or whatever.
I'm about to hit J.M. Santos with the Avacadabra. That's the kill. Yeah, that's a big one.
Ooh,
that's a serious
one. And then also a big signing on this defensive side of the ball. I feel like the big thing with the Dolphins for the last 5-6 years has been, we're just going to figure out how to have the best secondary in football. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think they have like the second best secondary in football, right next to Dallas. But they were able to go get Deshaun Elliott. Sorry, I had to adjust my shirt real quick. They were able to go get Deshaun Elliott. They have Jalen Ramsey as well. And they have really good secondary players already. So I really like how this secondary is looking. What are your thoughts on it right now?
Love the secondary. I'm just curious how the Dolphins only have 3 special players. I feel like they have a little bit more than that. Dude,
there's this guy that's X is going to give it to you. He's really special on this defensive side of the ball.
I don't know who that. Oh, Xavier Howard.
Yeah.
I like Holland, man. And I like the whole secondary. They're always been phenomenal. Ever since I was a child, Sam Madison, Patrick Surtain, we grew up with a great secondary. I grew up with a great secondary, and I'm not as old as you guys. But I love it. I feel like it's a good foundation. But most people build from the freaking trenches back. Like that's what Tampa Bay did their whole career. Like it was Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Derek, all these guys up here, and then that's why Rondé Barber took so long to get in the Hall of Fame. Is he really that great?
So let me just say this. X is going downhill because he wasn't getting thrown to because they were picking on everybody else. And he hasn't played that much last year. But now if you see Xavier Howard with Jalen Ramsey next to him, that's going to be special. You got to pick your poison just like you have in Dallas right now. I would almost, if I was to pick the 2 starting cornerbacks, I would love to have the Miami 2 starters over the Dallas's 2 starters right now, because I really do think Xavier Howard is special, especially when he has someone next to him to elevate and get more passes thrown his way.
Who do you think? Let me ask you this in the chat as well, because I realized this. I was playing flag football with a bunch of 6th graders.
Holland is special.
Graders. He is special. Holland's very special.
Yeah.
I was playing flag football with a bunch of 6th and 7th graders last week.
Were you like Peyton Manning in that commercial?
No, because I was cooler. Like when I was just being like the cool dad, like get open, like I wasn't being a jerk. But every time a kid would deflect the ball, they go, Diggs, I'm gonna Diggs him. Like that's the thing with kids. I'm like, Diggs him. Like what does that mean? So people are at least kids are recognizing
interception.
Yeah, because they're like picking it off. Oh, just like Diggs,
But
I almost Diggsed him. He is.
Yeah, but Xavier Howard is the original Diggs.
But he doesn't get the recognition from the mainstream audience or nothing because he's in Miami.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Miami. The national media, like if you're in Miami, you're kind of useless. Like when does Phillips get talked about? When does anyone get talked about in Miami? Nobody.
Yeah, I feel like Phillips is a very underrated. And I mentioned Christian Wilkinson. What I would do with that situation, I wouldn't try and re-sign Christian Wilkinson. I'd try and get value for him. If it's either a compensatory pick, let someone else take him, or find a way to trade him and get more value back for him. But I'm trying to save that money that I would spend on Christian Wilkinson and use that on Jalen Phillips because I feel like as he develops, he's going to turn into a special talent.
I believe so too. I agree with that 1,000%. He is special.
Okay, and then as well as we're coming to an end here on the show, we have Dan Feeney was added to this roster as well with Braxton Berrios. I feel like you're a big Braxton Berrios guy. Or am I speaking wrong?
Yeah, just a white dude over here just loves Braxton Berrios, right? Is that what you like?
I like in the back of my head, I feel like you've talked about Braxton Berrios before and just liking him as a player.
Yeah, I do like him as a player. I'm excited for that. That's pretty cool. I'm not like, oh, this is gonna be a game breaker, but it's definitely a huge upgrade in my eyes. To what they had for that option. God, Cedric Wilson I still can't sleep because of that contract, because of that signing.
What? So. This is my issue with football fans. Everybody on the roster has to be special. No, everyone plays a part on a roster, and if they play that role well, they can then make the team special. Not every player has to be special. If that was possible, then I don't know. But that's not how building an NFL roster works. Not everyone's going to be special. I'm sorry. Not even, I guarantee you go to the Kansas City Chiefs last year in their offseason, and they were complaining that they did not have talent at a certain position. Most likely wide receiver. But how did that end up for them? Oh, they went and won a Super Bowl. So.
I told you. That's all I have to say.
You did.
I told you.
And I hope this is not a conversation for me as I'm wearing a Cowboys sweatshirt.
Whoa.
But They also were able to sign punter Jake Bailey. And then, as we mentioned, they got Malik Reed. With that being said, what are your overall thoughts on the Dolphins free agency so far?
Free agency's been good. Little surprises here and there. I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay with the Ram. At first, I was not a Ramsey fan. People had to talk me into it, not because of the player, just because of the cost and because
I can't
of his
do
age.
this. I can't do this, Kimmel.
We're not doing it.
But my point in that, okay.
Smiles better than two. Of course he is.
But here's my conversation of why I brought that up. They won the Super Bowl, and they didn't have a special wide receiver group. They were complaining about not having special players on their team. And their team went and won a Super Bowl because those players that they didn't think were special played a certain role on that offense to allow that team to be special and go win a Super Bowl.
And it can go on my end as well with the running back position. They're not special. They weren't special at running back either. Pacheco, McKinnon, they weren't special.
Pacheco played a really good special role for them, though.
But he's not a special player. But the point is, and I think G-Man's making, is Tua is not special enough to make that happen, which I don't think he is either, but I do love him. But Mahomes is. That's the difference right there. Whereas Tom Brady, players like that, they're special enough to overcome that. Is Tua special enough to overcome this? I think that's what G-Man's
that is
about.
the question for sure. You would say maybe, and I would say probably not. But
Kelsey's a tight end. He is very special, but it's one. It's one. One person. That's it.
Right now, who do you think is winning free agency?
Who do I think is winning free agency?
Yeah.
The Bears.
Okay.
Is
that including the first overall pick being traded? Is that why you think they're winning?
Yeah, they're winning because of that. They're just winning. They're in my eyes, they're winning all the free agency. No, I'm not saying they're going to be a lot better and they're going to make the Super Bowl and they're going to do us. No, I'm saying they're doing good moves. They're doing what I wish every team did. Give your star rookie. He's not a rookie, but give your star quarterback players to play with. Give him a chance. Give Justin Fields a chance because he didn't have a chance. He finally does.
Yeah.
You know who else you want to know who's losing the free agency? The Giants. You go out there. I said this last night. You go out there and you give your quarterback all this money. You sign them, and then you fill up your roster with bums like Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard. But you already know who Sterling Shepard is. Yeah. Straight up bum. You want to talk about Tua can't finish the season? Sterling Shepard hasn't played more than 3 games in the past fucking decade. You got Darius Slayton out there, straight up bum as well. You guys haven't done anything over there to help Daniel Jones in that offense. Nothing.
Yeah.
You franchise tagged Barkley because you had to, because that was the only move you could do. Other than that, you did nothing. Yeah, you traded for Waller. Congratulations. A washed up old tight end who had a couple good years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So I'm going to be a little homerish in this situation, but I'm super excited for what the Dallas Cowboys have done this offseason.
Darius Slayton.
This shocked me completely. I never expected Dallas to go out and get my guy. I've been calling this for a while. I wanted speed on this offense. Brandon Cooks is going to open up this offense a lot. And I love the move Dallas is making. Hopefully they can solidify that and not go and trade a bunch of capital and go get the running back out of Texas, Bijan. But I don't know. I'm excited. I really am. This is the most excited I've been for the Cowboys in an offseason. So I'm super excited for that. But anyway, that's our offseason or free agency recap. We'll get into more. We'll start to get into more draft information and things like that as the weeks come. We're going to do that. So I just love the negativity in the chat. Let's go. We're going to end on some positivity.
Yeah, first off, being a stoner is not a negative thing over there. I'd vape on the sidelines too, but I do have some inspirational quotes concerning my burns, and because this wasn't going to be it. You guys made me pull up some Harry Potter. All right. Numbing the pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it the most. Albus Dumbledore.